The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
I say it's time we focus on what really matters. The games. Who's with me?
Good morning and welcome to episode 38 of the PlayStation Experience podcast, the Sony bend to PSVG Prime's Naughty Dog and PSVG's premier PlayStation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Seth, and I'm joined as always by Justin. How's it going, Justin?
It is fabulous this morning, Seth.
Okay, cool.
I had a good Easter weekend. How about you?
Yeah, it was good. We were supposed to go up and visit family. We were going to leave Thursday evening, but Wednesday evening, one of the kids got sick, and then so we just waited till Saturday to make sure nobody else got sick.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And no one else did, and so then we got to go up Saturday, and then came back Sunday. So It was good. So
That's good. It was pretty nice weather up here. I don't know about you guys, but we had basically nothing but sun and got up to the 70s yesterday. I made some homemade cheesecake for the first time ever Saturday night.
Okay. All right.
And that was a big hit yesterday. So, and cheesecake's kind of a staple in my life. So, I was pretty pumped about that.
I make cheesecake about once a year. I don't know why. Why only once? Because cheesecake is my favorite dessert. But I don't know. I started making it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I think once you've made it, you can understand why it's so expensive.
Yes.
When you go to Cheesecake Factory, because it costs a lot to make a cheesecake.
I would very much agree with that. My wife was excited that I was able to make such a good cheesecake, but not thrilled with the price of groceries.
Yeah, but for an every now and then treat, it's pretty good. Did you just make a regular cheesecake? Did you add anything to it? Okay.
Nope, New York cheesecake.
Yeah.
I'm not much for the blueberry or strawberry coverings.
Yeah, I'm not either. In general, I prefer just regular cheesecake with some chocolate syrup drizzled on top.
I was gonna drizzle some caramel on top, but I forgot. So,
but
anyways,
over the years, I have made a Butterfinger cheesecake where you crunch up some Butterfingers and put that in the cheesecake batter, and that kind of melts into it. And then you crunch some Butterfinger on top of it, and the crust is with chocolate graham crackers.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and I also made an apple cinnamon cheesecake once where you have apple. I don't really think you put apples. I haven't made that in a while. Apples inside, but you have cinnamon inside. Yeah, there's some.
Do you put some applesauce?
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. But the crust it's the graham cracker crust with some walnuts and cinnamon and sugar in it, which is really good.
That does sound good.
And anyway, that's enough of the baking portion of our show. Everyone should make cheesecake. It's fun. It's good. It's a good dessert.
I had a good time.
Yeah. So before we get into the main show, I want to take a minute to thank our Patreon producers. You can visit patreon.com/PSVG to learn more. And thank you to the following producers: Coach Hulk, Edwin Callow, Devin Tyus, Kevin Austin, Chris M., Kyle Hyman, Bonesaw, Josh Borboni, Barry Cathcart, and Paul Calicote. So this week, we've got a couple fun things to talk about. I have a major first-party game releasing this week, and it's the biggest thing in entertainment that's releasing on April 26th, aside from Avengers Endgame, I suppose. So do you think more people will watch Avengers Endgame than will play Days Gone?
Yeah, there's a good chance of that happening, Seth. I do believe that, yes.
Okay, probably.
You never know.
Never know. So that's going on. For this show, we're also going to talk about the PlayStation 5 and a lot more. But before we get into that, let's see what we've been playing. Justin, you've been playing something different.
I have, yeah. For once, I have actually purchased not a new game by any means, but a good game, I would say. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was on sale, pretty heavily discounted this last weekend during a flash sale. This was discounted. There was another game that was discounted pretty heavily. It might have been another Ubisoft game. I can't remember.
There were a lot of flash sale games.
It was good. Yeah.
God of War was down to $23, not Ubisoft, but
Okay.
But it was down to $23.
Yeah. But yeah, I picked up the gold edition so I could get the all the DLC and stuff attached. It was like $32-$33. So yeah, jumped in on that. And yeah, played that last couple days, and yeah, I really like it. I'm really enjoying it. I do remember, I don't know if I've actually rented it or something. I played the first hour, I think. I must have like got it on, sometimes Redbox spits out a free game code. But what am I going to do with one night of a game? So maybe I tried that, but I'm really enjoying it. I did choose to play as Cassandra. I'd heard that her the voice actress was a little bit better than the voice actor for I can't remember, Edios.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I don't know. Yeah, it's Assassin's Creed. It's fun. It's Greek mythology, which that's probably one of the main reasons I wanted to play it, was see how it tied in with different Greek mythology and stuff like that, and kind of throws you right in. They keep talking about the Cyclops and other characters, and I'm really enjoying it. I really like that time period. So
cool. Before this one, what was the most recent one, Assassin's Creed, you've played?
Let's see. I had played a little bit of Origins.
Okay.
I didn't own it though, or maybe I had it for a week and returned it. I would say the last one I fully completed was Black Flag.
Oh, okay. So it's been
a while.
Yeah.
I kind of skipped over. Yep, I skipped over Unity and the other one. I skipped over a lot of this generation's. Yeah, really.
Pretty much the only Assassin's Creed game that I've played, AC3, because I like the time period, and then I played Black Flag because that was a launch game on PS4.
Yes,
that was one of the few big game experiences. Don't like the ship combat. And then I didn't play anything until Syndicate, which I loved. And then I've really been thinking about Odyssey. Actually, as we record this, it's still currently on sale. So I'm going to see if I can hold off until 11 a.m. And not buy it.
Yeah.
Because I'm $32 for a huge game with all of its DLC, and then access to Assassin's Creed 3.
Exactly. Yep.
As well. So I mean, it's a good price.
Deal.
So we'll see. Or if I can hold off and maybe just put that toward Days Gone or something. So you're pretty early on in the game still?
Yeah, I've only probably played about 2, maybe 3 hours. So I haven't gotten any really juicy story stuff yet. Just kind of getting the lay of the land. It does when you boot up the game, it gives you an option. I don't remember what they called it, but it's basically there's an exploration mode versus the kind of guided mode.
Okay.
And I think all that really does is the exploration mode takes away some of the markers that are on screen and it gets rid of every single little task or mission. Instead, you have to actually go out and find those people yourself. You have to be randomly walking by them, exploring the different towns, exploring the map, and finding those missions for yourself. And I did opt for that choice, which I thought was interesting. And it says right on the description that this is the way the game's meant to be played. And I think it's to encourage, they've recreated all of this land and all of this lore, and they want you to just kind of explore it, not just go from mission to mission to mission. So it does seem like there's Ubisoft games have that problem where you go to the map and it's just dots everywhere and it's hard to get it under control. And there's a little bit of that, but it's not as bad. At least not as bad as the last time I remember playing an Assassin's Creed game. So
that you almost wonder if that's one element that carried over from Breath of the Wild. Just replaying Breath of the Wild right now, and I'm not making a lot of progress with it, but it is making me see what I enjoyed about the game. And one of the things is there are a million things to do in Breath of the Wild, but the game doesn't tell you what to do. You have to you climb a tower and then you look out over the world and then you find things to do based on what you can see. Or while you're walking or riding your horse over to a certain area, you pass an in-game event that's happening. So it sounds kind of like maybe Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the Explorer mode took from that kind of idea.
I would think so. I'm sure they've been learning from games like that, and yeah, I think it's a good move.
Yeah, so you never know. People could hear from me next week that I caved and that I bought the game, but we'll see. Really, I don't. Between Apex Legends and MLB The Show, I'm feeling pretty good right now, game-wise. So, speaking of MLB The Show, that is the only non-Apex game that I'm playing currently still. I did, with my character, my Road to the Show character, was called up directly from AA into the majors. So that shows that I was doing pretty well. And then in the majors, my very first at-bat, I hit a triple.
Oh.
But then I proceeded to go 1 for my next 22.
Okay. Yep.
So, and that's where I am right now. I'm not. So I'm trying to figure out the difference between AA hitting and major league hitting is immense.
Just speed.
Yeah. Speed, movement, and where they put the ball. So there are more balls that go outside the strike zone or really close to being outside the strike zone, that it's harder to, and that's always been my, as baseball games have gotten more advanced, the hardest thing to do is deciding when to swing. And you've got to, you have a split second to decide whether to swing or not and where to swing. So I'm having some trouble adjusting there, but we'll see. And Apex, we will talk about at the end of the show. Moving on to new releases for the week of April 22nd. A couple big releases this week. Number one, the first-party game Days Gone, an open-world action-adventure game set in a harsh wilderness 2 years after a devastating global pandemic. Play as Deacon St. John, a drifter and bounty hunter who rides the broken road, fighting to survive while searching for a reason to live. So, Days Gone, hoping we see reviews, maybe even by the time this podcast goes out, maybe reviews will be live. But it's a game that as it's gotten closer to release, I've gotten more and more interested in. Now you just are jumping into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I imagine that'll kind of bump back your other...
Yep. I was planning on getting this day one, but I think I might push it back at least a week, give myself a little bit more time before I always have a hard time when I'm playing 2 games at once, prioritizing. So I'll probably give it another week. Yeah. But I still absolutely plan on, and unless the reviews come out and it's awful, which is a possibility. Yeah. I don't think that'll, I have a good feeling about this game.
I think at the very least, it's got to be a solid 7.
Yeah.
Whatever. I know review scores mean different things to different people, and people don't care about them. But I look at a 7 as, if you're interested in a game and it's a 7, then you're going to enjoy it. Versus if it's a game that's a 4 or 5, which means it's practically broken. But I'm looking forward to it. I hope it gets great reviews. I hope it sells well for Sony Ben's sake. Studio that hasn't had a game in 8 years. Not that they probably haven't been working on other things, but it's a big release week. This is MLB The Show came out a month ago, which is it really is a big first party game, but it's much more niche than sports games, especially baseball games. I think are a bit more niche than an open world ish action adventure zombie game.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Other big release coming out this week: Jupiter and Mars, an underwater sea adventure. Set in a future Earth, sea levels have risen from melting ice caps and climate change. As a result, the coastal cities are all but completely submerged. Since man's disappearance, the oceans have begun to reclaim themselves. Will Jupiter and Mars succeed in bringing life back to the oceans? That description doesn't tell you that Jupiter and Mars are apparently a couple of dolphins.
Yes. Yeah. I think Kyle's been really excited about this one for several years now. He's been following the production of this game. It may be a follow-up to Echo, the infamous
Echo the Dolphin.
Yep, game. So yeah, we'll have to see what Kyle says about this game because I'm sure he will get this since it's a PSVR release.
Echo, I feel like is a game that every Sega Genesis kid played at some point.
Yes. Yep.
But I know that I played it, but I don't remember what the point of it was. I just remember swimming around the ocean as a dolphin.
I don't believe there was a point.
Okay.
I think that's I think it's the joke. But I don't remember exactly. I was pretty young when I played it, but I do believe that there wasn't a great point.
What was that show? Flipper. Did you ever watch Flipper?
Movie. Maybe there was a TV show too.
Yeah, it was a TV show.
Flipper was a movie with Frodo, Elijah Woods. Elijah. I mean, I'm gonna have to.
I don't know. There was a TV series in 1964 called Flipper, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the TV series from 1995.
Ah, you are correct. There is, there. See, now I was thinking of Flipper, the movie that came out in 1996.
Okay, well, I've not heard of Flipper the movie,
and it did star Elijah Wood, aka Frodo.
But Flipper the show had Jessica Alba in it.
Oh,
and I've not heard of anybody else, but Jessica Alba was in it for 44 episodes, but it lasted 102 episodes, so I don't know.
Wow, this is really eye-opening.
Yeah. Anyway,
the other big release this week.
Jessica Alba.
Yeah, she doesn't. She looks old.
Pretty. She looks older than I would have thought she.
I was
would have been there.
I was like, I don't want. I mean,
oh wait, no, there's another picture there. Okay, she looks pretty young there.
Ah.
All right. Well, just remember when that came out, I was 10 years old, so I would have enjoyed Jessica Alba.
Yes.
Actually, I probably would have thought girls were gross at the time, and I just liked the dolphins.
Cooties, yeah. Cooties. Dolphins were pretty cool. There was obviously the 90s were big for the dolphins.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
and whales for that, killer whales.
No, there were only 44 episodes. There were 102 pictures of Flipper on IMDb. There's some really weird pictures. Like there's this one right now that I'm looking at of under the water, and the Flipper, the dolphin, has a hold of a rope, but it's right by someone's crotch. So it's just like it's a Flipper nose right by a guy's crotch.
Yeah, I'm also looking at this picture. It is an odd picture, but I presume he's saving this man in some way.
Probably.
Or she. It could be a she dolphin.
This is a very, very 90s TV show, Flipper. And anyway, you can play as dolphins in
Jupiter and Mars.
Jupiter and Mars. Okay. The other big game for real coming out this week is Mortal Kombat 11. And people are really excited about it. I am not. I don't know the last Mortal Kombat game I've played, but it's been a long time. I do enjoy the DC fighting games.
Infamous. Not Infamous. Is it Infamous?
No. Injustice. So I've really enjoyed those, and so I'm sure this game. I'm sure Mortal Kombat is great, but it's just not my thing. But it looks very violent, and it looks pretty good. I'm sure it'll be great for people who like it. So who like Mortal Kombat. All right, on to the big news. This news came out last Tuesday, the day before we release our podcast, but the day after we record it. I attempted to record some news about this, but my recording apparently
audio
is
issues
incompatible. So anyway, we are talking, of course, about the PlayStation 5. It was revealed in a Wired magazine or Wired Online article where Sony invited Wired magazine to their headquarters in California to talk about the next generation PlayStation. And it's a really good article with Mark Cerny. Of course, there have been a lot of other articles since then, but if you haven't, for whatever reason, read the Wired article, go visit them. Wired's a great magazine. I subscribe to Wired, and you should read it for a lot of reasons. But you should go check out the Sony PlayStation 5 article if for some reason you haven't seen it yet. The main topics that it covered in the next generation PS5 or PlayStation, presumably it'll be a PS5. Who knows? There will be a third generation AMD Ryzen CPU. Justin, you're more techie than I. Do you know what
I'm not familiar with AMD because AMD is like not the most popular brand for people who are actually building PCs.
Okay.
I think they are the brand. They're the company that powers, I believe, both systems at this point.
Okay.
They make these custom CPUs and GPUs for both companies, so they kind of have their own. But from what I think it's got like 8 cores or something like that, something crazy.
Yeah.
From what I've seen online, like kind of the feedback, 'cause I don't know as well, but some of the other articles I've seen is like, nope, this is very, very capable CPU.
Yeah. And it talks about the custom Radeon GPU that supports ray tracing.
Yep.
And ray tracing has something to do with a lighting model that makes
Yeah.
things even more realistic.
Yeah, I think it's just a way of computing or something where now these new chips or whatever can like actually like instead of just making up where the light goes, it can literally I don't know, not program, but it can tell where light is and stuff and bounce light around.
Yeah.
Which is also how they're getting better audio.
Mm-hmm.
As I guess they're doing the same thing with audio, basically, just treating it as sounds as if they were light.
Yeah. Talked a bit about 3D audio, and I already think, ideally the way that you are listening to your games, I listen on my headphones most of the time anyway, and like with Apex Legends, it's almost mandatory. If you want to know where gunfire is coming from or whatever, and so maybe 3D audio will take that even up a notch. So that's cool. Probably the biggest thing for like our gaming, the time we spend gaming, and actually productively gaming and doing something, will be that they're adding a custom solid state drive into every next gen PlayStation. The example they used here was they moved to the in Spider-Man for PS4, you fast travel and you ride the subway, and it takes 15 seconds from when you click fast travel to when you start playing again. With the next gen PlayStation, it was 0.8 of a second. Now, how will that translate to Assassin's Creed Vikings in a year and a half as a launch title on the PS5, where it has ray tracing and 3D audio and all this other stuff? Will that still load that quickly?
Yeah, good question.
Either way, SSD is something that should be. It's in one of the points that I've seen. That's in most cheap laptops anymore.
Yeah.
For fast loading times. So
yeah, and the Cerny went into kind of in depth about this whole thing and way above my head, but kind of described that they're making a completely. I guess there's different types of SSDs, and they're kind of making a special version specifically for gaming, basically.
Yeah.
And they're gonna make millions and millions in units. So like, because some people were saying, well, 1 terabyte SSDs are really expensive. And I was like, well, yeah, they're expensive for us because we're only buying one, but Sony's about to buy millions of these. So, and if not creating their own in some way, because they do have a huge hardware division. So in my mind, I don't think that's a big issue, as far as cost wise. I think they're still going to keep it relatively low.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a really good point you bring up, that every system has gotten faster. I mean, the PS4 is faster than PS3, and PS3 is faster than PS2. But the games keep getting bigger and better.
Yep.
So the loading times have always just stayed consistent. But maybe SSDs maybe that's why. Maybe we've been stuck on hard drives this whole time, and now we'll have a solid state drive. So that's what my hope is, anyways.
Yeah. Hopefully it.
Let's say, if Spider-Man was optimized for ray tracing and 3D audio, maybe the load time would be 7 seconds. If they can cut it down, in half, that's still pretty great.
Oh yeah, for sure. Load times. I don't even think of Spider-Man as being a load time issue. It's when Bloodborne launched.
Yeah.
It would be you die and then it's 45 seconds waiting to come back, which is an issue in a game where you die all the time. So they did confirm a disk drive, also 8K output, and it will be PSVR compatible, but did not talk about possible future PSVR, the PSVR 2 or whatever. They didn't talk about that specifically, although that's pretty pretty well rumored out there that there's a next gen PSVR.
Yeah.
As well. So, of course, no price points are coming out. It's always exciting when a new console is released. The way this was announced is interesting. I mean, it's not like it's been a secret that these new consoles are being developed exactly.
Yeah.
But to come out 2 months before E3, which Sony's not going to be at, where Xbox is supposedly, they're going to be at E3, and I think the idea is that they're going to talk about their next console, which there's an article over on Push Square, and I'm sure it's a bunch of other places that the next Xbox is supposedly more advanced than PlayStation's offering. It's perhaps worth noting that Microsoft is rumored to be releasing 2 next-gen consoles, a cheaper, less powerful option, and a supercharged alternative. Assuming there's any truth to this, it's likely the premium box will be the one that eclipses the PS5, and will presumably come at a cost. I guess there was some chatter on Reset Era, and a number of other places, but it's, it's an exciting time to be a gamer when all these rumors are coming out, and
the console wars, the console battles that we see. I mean, I always feel, I feel like, a little nerdy, but like that PS4 moment when they came out and said price is $399 and totally undercut Microsoft. Like, that was really big that day. That was really cool to see. I really enjoy watching these two companies really go back and forth, and I enjoy watching Nintendo off to the side as well, and them kind of butting in with interesting games and stuff like that. But it's always been, for the last decade, it's really been Sony versus Microsoft, and both of them are doing fine. Microsoft is doing fine, even though they kind of lost, technically lost this generation. But I'm really excited to see those conferences. A little, again, still a little bit bummed that Sony won't be at E3 to have that moment.
Yeah.
But I think this might be a smarter way of doing it. A lot of people kind of agree that maybe E3 is a little bit old school, and it doesn't make sense to have all of your news for the year wrapped up into 1 week, competing with your competitors as far as news cycle. So I'm glad that I enjoyed this little leak from Sony, and I'm excited for. I'm not too worried about Xbox being more powerful. At this point, they're all powerful. I don't know. You can definitely tell, from what I've heard, you can definitely tell the difference between an Xbox One X versus a PS4 Pro. But they came out at different times, and I don't know if I would be able to tell the difference that much. So
I've never played a One X, but ultimately it really doesn't matter to me that much. I mean, games are pretty darn good. Did you ever watch 30 Rock?
Yeah, not all of it, but most of them. Most of
them. We're kind of like in between some shows right now, and so when we don't have like a new weekly show hasn't come out yet, we're watching old episodes of 30 Rock. So there's an episode where Tracy Jordan he's trying to figure out what to do with his life to make his kids proud, and he loves video games and he loves pornography. So he decides to make a porn video game. And they go into this whole thing about Frank, who's kind of the skeezy guy with the like longer curly hair on the writing staff. Says it's impossible to do a pornography video game, and talks about the uncanny valley and how you can look so close to real that it just isn't quite real. And I think there is. I don't know if there's something to that or not. I mean, like you look at this generation and games like Detroit, which looks pretty good, and I don't know if there's ever a point where it's going to look so real that it just kind of sets people, I don't know, makes people uncomfortable or something. I don't know that we're to that point yet, but
I don't know if it'll ever reach that point. And maybe we could reach that point with, we know we can. Like visual effects studios and movies and stuff, they can recreate anything, people that look real. But I don't know if I would be curious what game studio tries to do that first in a game, because I don't think we will like it.
Yeah, probably not.
I think it will kind of disturb people a little bit.
So anyway, so I'm not, at this point, one of the bullet points for the PS5 is 8K output. I just got a 4K TV. And and I know that's part of the thing about the PS4 Pro versus the X1X is that it's not native 4K and that it upscales and whatever. But so I don't even feel like the thing that I have fully uses 4K to its capability. And it's also, if I'm in 4K, like for MLB The Show, the performance suffers just a little bit. So you don't even want to play it at the highest visual fidelity. And that's the case with most of the games. That the games run better if you play them at 1080p or 1440. If you're actually playing at 4K, then the game doesn't run quite as well and it's noticeable. So kind of until, I think that's video game wise is more important, is running smoothly. Anyway, so PS5, exciting times. I almost expect there to be another State of Play event sometime before E3 or around E3. PlayStation's not going to be there, but they can still, I think we've kind of been waiting for them to get past Days Gone's release to talk more about what's coming the rest of the year. And now we're practically in May now, and E3 is just a little over a month away.
Yeah. We don't have a fall game right now.
Nope.
Is the big problem. We've got two very big unannounced games with Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2, but there's rumors going around that neither of those games are anywhere near completion.
Mm-hmm.
I know Ghost of Sucker Punch, they had a job posting for someone to write for a story writer.
Huh.
So like within the last 2 weeks. So it is not looking great for that being ready to complete. And then Naughty Dog's just wrapping up motion capture within the last week. But I believe that could also be DLC, so maybe they're farther along than we think.
Yeah.
And Naughty Dog is known for crunch. As controversial as that is, they tend to get a lot done on their games in the last minute. That's kind of how they've come out and said how Last of Us kind of came together within the last month, whereas it wasn't looking great until all of a sudden it just clicked.
Right.
So we could see a similar situation this year, and I'm holding out hope that it's going to be ready. I wouldn't, maybe not fall, but like December, basically, maybe just barely getting it in before Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's been the rumor that there's an unannounced game, first party game that hasn't been announced yet that'll be coming this year. That's hard to think of what that would be. But if we knew what it was, then then we'd know what it was. It wouldn't be unannounced. And of course, Dreams, which the early access is available right now. That could be officially released sometime later this year.
Yeah, that could be a fall release, and they could make a lot bigger deal of it than they did the early access.
I do look to, Spider-Man released in September last year. I don't think that it's necessary for Sony to release a first-party game between October and December. Maybe you could see one come out in December, I guess, but it doesn't really make any sense for even The Last of Us 2 to come out in October or November. Between Call of Duty, I guess there's no Assassin's Creed this year, but the Star Wars game coming out.
Yeah.
There's just
plenty of other games, even though they're not exclusives.
Yeah, there's plenty to play, and not that The Last of Us necessarily competes with Star Wars, but kind of does. If those come out within a week of each other or something, I don't know. Anyway, we hopefully will find out more about that here between now and E3. I think would be, I don't know if it's expected, but almost expected. So, also recently, I don't know if it was on April 20th or the 21st, must have been April 20th, is the 1-year anniversary of God of War being released. And there's a pretty cool documentary on YouTube about the making of God of War, the game. And I haven't watched it yet because I haven't played the game, but it is supposed to be pretty good. And it's neat that Sony has done. They did this one. There was another documentary they did. I don't know if it was Horizon Zero Dawn. I know NoClip did a documentary about Horizon, but
which was very good. But yeah, I'll definitely watch it. because I really like that game a lot. So, and I think it's kind of cool that they reinvented Kratos and stuff, and I'd kind of like to see more about that.
Yeah. So check that out on YouTube. And then another announcement from the last week, the PS2 game, first-person shooter game 13, which is XIII, is going to be getting remade. It's a cel-shaded first-person shooter from the PS2 era where you play as 13, a talented soldier who lost his memory and has been accused of killing the President of the United States. You wake up injured and amnesic on Brighton Beach, with the only clue being a small key and a mysterious tattoo that reads XIII next to your clavicle. And I'd never even heard of this game, but there are people who are pretty excited about it. Have you ever played 13?
I have not. Mm-hmm. And really, whenever I see XIII or 13 in Roman numerals, I always think of Red 13 from Final Fantasy VII. I know you're probably not familiar, but he was like a cool tiger character in that Final Fantasy game that everyone loves. So for a long time, I thought 13 was just like an offshoot of Final Fantasy VII. So no idea. But no, I've never played it. I'm not really, so I won't really be interested in the remake, I guess.
Yes, and it talks about it being cel shaded, and I mean, and it is. And I guess if I'm going to play that style of a first person shooter game, I'm probably just going to get Borderlands. But for people who are excited about it, that's cool. So, I think that's about it for news related things. I'm going to jump quickly into Apex Legends. Also last week, between the time we recorded and the time we released, of course, Apex Legends had a major update, and it was update 1.1. And one of the things that really got me jumping in, I mean, I jump into Apex Legends anyway, but was they, for 48 hours, they had a buff where if you, each day you played, if you got into a top 5 for a squad, you went up one whole level in the battle pass.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, and then Thursday morning was the night after my one daughter had gotten sick and we didn't go to sleep till 3 a.m. So I did not get up and play Wednesday morning. But I was able to jump up 2 levels, and now I played a little bit last night, and I'm almost to level 12, which is where you get the you get a crate and you get your first boost for your playing with friends, the 2.5% boost. So I'm almost there. I imagine we've got another month and a half of the battle pass, so I don't know how much that'll really help me, but that's at least, I wanted to get up to at least level 12 to get at least one Apex crate out of it. So
yeah.
There are a bunch of other notes. Gibraltar and Caustic were buffed. The Spitfire and Wingman were nerfed, where I think they mainly lowered the size of their clips. Snipers and especially the longbow were buffed, I think adding some more damage. And the Havoc was buffed a little bit as well. Have you played at all in the last week?
Oh yeah, I've been playing. I was able to get one of those days for the full upgrade, and I didn't know anything about the patch or anything. I kind of just jumped in randomly. Kind of been offline a little while, but then I got a top 5 finish and went up 11. I was like, what? I was very shocked. So then I went to the internet and figured it out. Obviously, I really hope that they continue with that trend. I think they're realizing that's definitely the biggest complaint about this first battle pass is progression. So hopefully they realize that people really enjoyed that little, I can't believe they only did 3 days. I wish they would have done at least a whole week.
Yeah.
What's the worst that you're going to let 7 days of, get 7 levels, it's not that big of a deal. So, and you still have to reach top 5, which, might take you a couple matches. So it's not like they're just giving you a level. But no, I haven't really noticed any weapon stuff. I did play as Gibraltar a little bit because I wanted to see if I could do any better with him. I still feel like, I don't know, I feel like I get shot at more when I play as him.
So his specific buffs were that you get a 10% damage reduction
Yep.
And his shield
I think
that he puts up
25
added
points.
25. So
Yeah.
from 50 up to 75. So really, I mean, that should add. He just becomes a little bit more spongy.
Yes.
A little bit more of a bullet sponge. The one, as far as the weapons goes, the wingman was the initial clip size was reduced from 6 to 4, and then each of the, as you get the larger clips, those were reduced also. And pretty much, unless I have a clip extender,
Yeah.
I won't pick up the wingman anymore because I'm not good enough. With
Yeah.
the wingman at 4 shots, you've got to hit your opponent in the head 4 straight times in order to knock them down, which is good. And there are plenty of people who can do that. I am not one of those people. I need the Spitfire that has 35 shots to get somebody. So Spitfire really has turned into probably my favorite weapon in the game at this point.
Especially if you can get the if you can get it upgraded a little bit, then it's one of my favorite weapons by far.
Yeah. Like that. And then last night I was using the R99, which I haven't used a ton, but I was really starting to like that as well.
I have been using that, or I've used that a little bit. I tend to try to get the Prowler and then find the select fire attachment to make it fully auto.
Yeah.
And I've had really good luck with that because you can kind of just run into people and it shoots so fast that you can kind of run through a whole clip quickly and they're down because it's heavy ammo and it does a lot of damage. So yeah.
So last week when the patch dropped and I was playing Tuesday night I was waiting for my other friends to get on, that one of the things, and I don't understand it, with the PlayStation 4, I set everything to load automatically. If you download a patch, it's supposed to download, it's on sleep mode or whatever. But there are some games like Apex Legends and like Destiny where you have to actually turn your system on in order for the patch to download and to install, rather than it doing it in sleep mode. So for whatever reason, so I had done that earlier in the day because I knew about the patch. But the guys I play with, they were still waiting for the patch to install. So I jumped in with a round and had my best round ever. I was Octane and I got 6 kills, which probably doubled my number of kills with Octane right there. And there was one time we were in, I forget what, I'm not good at the names of the map, but we were in one of the shacks.
Okay.
And there was another team that came in while we were there, and my 2 teammates both got taken out. And somehow I took down all 3 people on the other team, which is something I've never done anything like that. I don't know what the deal was or whatever, but somehow the other team took down my 2 teammates and I took down all 3 of them and then revived my teammates, and then we went on to win the game. So I actually looked like I knew what I was doing for once.
It's a good feeling.
Oh yeah, it is. It
keeps you playing too.
Oh yeah, it does. So I've had now, I think that was just my 4th win. So that win, and then the previous win where there were just 2 of us, and we didn't take out a lot of people, but we survived and we took out the last people, obviously. Those 2 wins both felt really good, and like I wasn't just carried to a win. Finally, I've contributed to a win. Now I've not won with any friends yet. We have gotten 2nd place a few times, but I'd like to win with people I actually know. So that's kind of my next thing. So other than that, something I saw that was pretty cool. Apex is partnering with WETA, WETA Workshop to make, I think, little Apex figurines or something, which I think is pretty cool. I could see getting depending on how expensive it is, getting a little Lifeline figurine and tossing it on my desk with my other nerdy things at work.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I did look at the price of some of their things, and this is a pretty upscale outfit.
Okay. Oh yeah. I see that now. Yep.
Yeah. So they've got a lot of Lord of the Rings little figurines for like $80 and up to $500.
Yeah.
600, 700. So I'm hoping, but they also have one line of the vinyls. If you go on and look under vinyl figures, so they have some vinyl figures that are $30, and so I could justify buying a $30 Lifeline little vinyl figure to pop on my desk.
Yeah. And they still look really good. So.
Oh yeah. But no, if the Apex line launches in the 80 and up range, I am not.
It's gonna be hard to sell that one. Yeah.
But I think it's cool anyway. But they have this website, wetanz.com, has a lot of cool nerdy things. So you can be a Stormtrooper for $650. You can be a Stormtrooper for $1,800. Wow. Imperial Stormtrooper Ensemble. Anyway, check that out. And other than that, I think we're good. You can find us on the Discord, the PSVG Discord. You can look up psvg.blog. Of course, check out our Patreon. Find us on Twitter at PSXP Podcast. You can find us playing Apex Legends. And I'm still Seth is the GOAT. I assume Justin is still Closet _gamer.
That's right.
All right. And with that, I think we're going to sign off. Have a great week.
And though we may pledge fanboy allegiances to different flags, deep down inside we all serve one master, one king. And his name is gaming. Forever may he reign!
This has been a production of the Play Some Video Games Podcast Network. Find more great content at playsomevideogames.com.